All right, Bob.
That was a slightly extended sigh. It almost sounded a bit pathetic. Is that the word? As if you're in tears or something.
I've been in consultation with my guru, with my verbal yoga guru, and he said if I could just try and extend it out a bit, I'll be more relaxed and I'll perform better during the podcast. So that explains that.
You realise I don't believe you, so I'll immediately inquire. What's his name?
It's Jim Window.
Yeah, you looked at a window, did you? Thought it should run there.
No.
So all right, we've established that it's nothing to do with your guru, right? So what were you trying to achieve there?
That's what it is. It's just this relaxation technique that I do right at the beginning. It brings us a little bit of luck as well. So
it's strange that it sounds so disrespectful, both to me and the process that we're involved in, isn't it?
Now I'm on edge. When I did it at the beginning, I felt fine. I felt good.
All right, do another one then. We'll start again. Do another one.
Right, here we go. Fucking hell. You all right, Bob?
Yeah, all right. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Good. I noticed you wearing your zip-up jumper again there.
Yeah.
I noticed. I saw Gregg Wallace wearing that on a recent edition of MasterChef.
Yeah, he wasn't wearing this one, Andy.
It was the same one, not the one you're wearing, not the identical one, because that belongs to you. But it was the same one, and I wondered, what with him being an arsehole and everything.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe you should rethink some of your life choices?
Well, one, I don't think he's an arsehole at all.
Do you not?
You just resent his success because he's a barra boy like you and he's done well. You don't like it, do you?
Right.
You don't like it when the poshies do well. You don't like it when barra boys, the working class man, does well.
Don't like anything.
No.
Already won.
Strikes me that maybe you like this jumper. And can I just point out that when he said it's a zipped, what did you call it? A jumper?
Zip jumper, yeah.
Yeah, well, it zips all the way down to the bottom and opens
It's cardigan then.
Thank you. That wasn't too difficult, was it?
Why are you eating a potato while we're doing this?
I'm eating a baked potato.
Why?
Because technically this has taken it's taken 20 minutes to set up.
Well, they don't need to know that.
Yeah, well, I've got Benecol in it for... Not that Andy will be bothered, he's not going to ask. I'm using Benecol because it's made from plant steroids or whatever, yeah. So it's good for me heart, which is... I've got a dicky heart, you see.
Have you? All right, fair enough. We'll move on from that, I think.
So, Andy, what have we got this week? I'll tell you what.
What?
I'll fill you in on some of the things I'm anticipating talking about.
Okay.
Me fishing trip with Dirk Kuyt.
Oh, aye.
Dirk Kuyt, the Liverpool fella. You know what I mean?
Kuyt.
He worked really hard as a footballer.
He did. He was a grafter. They put him on the wing after a while because he couldn't score goals, but he worked really hard.
He worked really hard, I
Dirk
wish...
Kuyt, he likes to work.
Dirk Kuyt and Dion Dublin.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd like to speculate as to what Steve McLaren's doing, obviously.
Always.
I suppose we'd better discuss... the normal stuff, Hoovers, Scotch eggs.
Yeah, I've got some tweets from the listeners as well. That'll help us fill some time in.
Lovely.
Questions we can ask each other about our various lifestyles. You being a millionaire and me not.
Not being one. The wife's questions, of course, will feature. Okay. What would you like to kick off with, Andy? Something of your own, or is there something I've said that's appealed to you?
Can we get the memory man thing out of the way, because just to establish your credentials before we get into it?
Yeah, I am the memory man.
With a face full of potato.
I provide the statistics regarding the football.
The high level of football content. We need to come on to that as well shortly, because there's been an official warning. I'll move on to that in a minute.
I'd like
Memory
to talk
man.
about... Sorry, hello, I'm
yourself.
Memory Man.
Can you remember the number of teams that have had a 100% home win record in a single season?
Ooh.
Can you remember how... I'm not asking you who they were, but just can you remember how many of them there's been?
Yes, I can.
There it is. There it is. There's your memory man, ladies and gentlemen.
That wasn't easy, that, Andy.
It wasn't. I'm trying to tax you a little bit because I think you've been coasting the last few weeks, but your credentials have been established, and now we can move on.
I did find you really testing then.
The
really
listeners can move on assured that we know what we're talking about.
Well, Steve McLaren this week.
What's he up to then?
Well, this Sunday it hit me. Just like it's I don't know. It's through the. Do you believe in ghosts and witches and wizards and the Loch Ness monster and all that?
No.
Well, in that kind of area, something to do with that sort of science, it hit me that he was in the garden centre, but specifically looking at the jams and marmalades.
Right.
Yeah, and he was with David Moyes.
Right.
Yeah, together they were having a right laugh trying on the oven gloves. Had a lovely little afternoon.
What's that got to do with the paranormal?
Because look, you know I'm not very articulate. You're like articulate working class bloke, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
important.
It's important here. Yeah, so it's important to you to come across as intelligent.
Well,
because you're a
if
barrel boy.
you're going to suggest that you're going to talk about something, at least follow up and then talk about it.
Well, it wasn't paranormal. What I mean is, well, you've got the talk. What I mean is where the idea came to me as if it had plucked it from the air.
Oh, got you. Right, it appeared into your head like a vision.
Yeah, and it felt real. And I saw them chuckling and like. I don't mean to be rude or anything. David, do you know like footballers do? David gave Steve's crotch a little tickle.
Yeah.
And they laughed and that.
With the oven gloves on.
Yeah, of course, because he had the oven gloves. The one David liked. They were like two hams.
Right.
Yeah, it is funny, isn't it, Andy? It is funny.
It sounds like a delightful scene.
Did you have any thoughts as to what he might be up to?
I've been thinking a lot about Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
As well, and did you see the other day Sam Allardyce confessed to doing transcendental meditation to help him relax?
All the time, or he did it once?
He doesn't do it all the time. He does it regularly. I mean, you might want to think about that with your knackered heart and everything, just to keep things under control. But I reckon McLaren's trying to emulate Allardyce and try and do a bit of transcendental meditation. And he's sitting on a beanbag in his greenhouse. He's got a tape of a whale song on. And he's just sat there with his eyes closed. He's going, ooga booga 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 booga.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Is that how you transcendentally meditate?
That's how he thinks you do it, aye.
Yeah, I think it's how you order jungle drinks in your local 21/7.
Well, maybe the fat lass brought him a drink out when he did it. I don't know.
Talking of greenhouses, I've been growing cucumbers, you know.
Yeah.
I went in the other day and someone had put a load of dildos in there. Doesn't work, does it?
Was that your joke?
No, it wasn't. It was absolutely true, so that's not my joke.
Right.
In no way is that my joke.
What are all these servants that had done it?
Yeah, I should think it probably was, Andy, on that occasion. Actually, do you know, I've got to admit to something, because it's been on my mind these last few weeks. I do have a guard now, comes once or twice a week, depending on how heavy the workload is.
Right. Well, maybe it was him that put the dildos in the greenhouse then. If he comes once or twice a week.
Well, to be honest with you, he's the only suspect.
Right, well, there you are then.
If you'll accept it wasn't me, if you'll accept it probably wasn't the wife.
I'm glad that you've confessed to him. Have the tabloids been sniffing around or something?
No, it's just struck me, of course, there's the gardener comes round. I suppose that is staff, innit?
Well, there you are, yeah. I'll tell you what, while we're on the subject, let's do the questions that I've got for you this week.
Oh, great, yeah.
Get it out of the way, shall we?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm really looking forward to them.
Good. Here they come. Bob, as a millionaire, in your palatial mansion in the Suffolk countryside, with your reverse-facing toilet that was designed for you by Christian Slater from the films, do you allow your servants to walk upright, or do you force them to walk on all fours while wearing really, really tight leopard print body stockings?
Right, I don't. I live in a semi-detached house. I'm not a millionaire. The toilet, the reverse toilet, was an idea, not a tangible reality. And I don't have any servants. Next question. You
said you don't have any servants twice there.
Have I?
It's almost as if you're
just
protesting too much.
All right. So is that a Shakespearean quote from the Ike?
Yeah. Do you force them to walk on all fours then, or do you let them walk upright?
No, I tell you what. I make them. Is it called gentrificate?
Something like that.
It's something like that, innit? I make them do that and say.
You've confessed to having servants then.
Yeah. Oh, master, do you want your lemon curd now?
Okay. Good. Now we're starting to get under the skin of the issue. Right, Bob. As a multi-millionaire, living in a mansion in the on the borders of Kent and Suffolk.
There's no border between Kent and Suffolk.
Shush, man. with your reverse-facing bog that Christian Slater designed and your collection of rare honky-tonk 78s? Do you allow your servants to eat the bruised apples that have fallen from the trees in your orchard, or do you pulp said apples and leave the pulped matter inside their footwear at random times?
I allow my fruit from my orchard to fall onto the ground, to rot, yeah? And to be enjoyed by the birds, the bees, and all the yeasts and things.
Your servants.
No. Well,
you ban them. You don't allow them to even touch the apples, apart from the ones they have to pick.
I say to my servants, I put some carrier bags out on one special day of the week to my gardener. Take as many as you want. Take as many as you want before they rot, and he takes them away. You. I think they call it windfall, don't they?
Do they?
That's the original.
I don't have an orchard, Bob, so I wouldn't know.
So how do you manage? Where do you get your apples?
Up the Asda. Like everybody else.
What's the Asda farm?
The Asda.
Oh, the Asda supermarket.
Up the Asda, you know.
Alright, I don't go to Asda. They've got apples, have they?
Well, of course they have. They've got everything.
Have they really got everything?
Well, not everything.
Yeah, well, don't say they've got everything then.
Car parts.
Okay, well, that's one thing.
I've got another question.
Oh, here we go.
So don't start getting carried away. Bob, as a multi-millionaire living on the border of Kent, Suffolk and Essex Triangle, with your reverse-facing bog as designed by Christian Slater, your collection of rare honky-tonk 78s, and an ice cream van that you don't even let anyone else even look at, because it's just yours, do you make your servants sign a gagging clause so that they don't reveal the existence of your Bob Cave, which is a bit like Batman's Batcave with the pole and the bright red telephone, and it's where you go to dress up as Bob Man, who looks like Batman, but there's a hole cut out the front of the suit for your gut to hang out of.
I do not have a Bob Cave. I am not Bob Man, and although I do have a gut, I don't adapt my clothing especially so that it can hang out. I contain it within, for example, today my zipped up cardigan, Gregg Wallace look. I do look a bit like Gregg Wallace, don't I?
What, like a twat?
Well, have you got a thing about Gregg Wallace?
Oh, why wouldn't you? God.
Tell me just something. All right, just tell me one thing he's done.
He's ridiculous.
Why is he ridiculous?
I'm not going to go into why I don't like him, because they could be legal for ramifications.
All right, time for the wife's questions. Are your questions for me over?
I've done them now. Yeah, that's it. Quite revealing, actually.
Thank you. I try my best, you know. So the wife's questions.
I said quite revealing.
Do you have Dairy Lee Dunkers for Sunday lunch only, or say like for every other day, something like that?
I have Dairy Lee Dunkers as and when I see fit.
And
I might have one. I might have some during the next podcast if you've introduced Jack Potato into the proceedings. And I have them with the breadsticks, and I also enjoy them with the Ritz crackers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you're quite laissez-faire over it. If your thought comes to you, I'd like a Dairy Lee Dunker.
If I want one and it's a Thursday, I'm not going to wait till friggin' Sunday for it, am I?
I just thought it might be a special day in your household when you had a Dairy Lee Dunker.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
Is it a special day when you have your buttered Weetabix?
That's every day.
You don't have it every day,
I have it every day, pretty much.
I didn't believe that you had buttered Weetabix. I made inquiries, and there is such a thing, and there is quite a lot of backing for them from the public.
There's even a Facebook page devoted to people who enjoy the practice.
I don't understand Facebook, so do they type out and say something, I've just had a buttered Weetabix, well, I enjoyed it very much, thank you.
There's only like 3 or 4 of them on there, so
okay.
I just put pictures of them up.
Nothing
to do with me.
It's disgusting, Andy. I can't even talk about it anymore. It makes me want to retch.
What,
do you put the butter on really thick?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says.
Real thick.
Second question from the wife. Have you ever been abroad, for example, on a coach trip or in a hire van?
I've been abroad on countless occasions, yeah. I've been to Holy Island. I've been to Scotland.
That's not abroad.
I've been to Liverpool.
Have you ever been abroad, for example, on a coach trip or in a hire van?
I've never been abroad on a coach trip, and I've never been abroad in a hire van. I've always travelled by aeroplane.
Thank you. That was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Third question. In your bungalow,
thank you,
which is bungalow for the listeners who've not heard before, in your fungalow, are the windows that UV plastic? And do they open nice and easily and promptly if the chip pan gets a bit smoky?
Yes, they are UPVC.
Okay.
Yes, they do open nice. There's a good action.
Right.
Nice and smooth. Don't even need to oil them or anything.
Are they maintenance free, are they?
They seem to be so far, touch wood.
Yeah. But hey, you wouldn't be touching, yeah?
I don't have a chip pan. I've actually got air fryer, a Philips air fryer.
Yeah.
That cooks using hot air, and it's much healthier than a chip pan. It does really tasty chips with just half a tablespoon of vegetable oil.
Oh, so it does use oil then?
So just about half a tablespoon.
Yeah, half a tablespoon of oil. Yeah. Sorry, it's just used. I thought I heard you say, Andy, that it didn't use oil.
It uses half a tablespoon.
Half a tablespoon of oil. So when you bring them out of that, do you then put them in your chip pan?
I haven't got a chip pan.
All right.
I've just said I've got an air fryer, and you can do chicken dippers in it, and mini pizzas, and sausages, and fish fingers.
What the fuck is a chicken dipper?
It's like a chicken coated in batter.
What? It's a fun.
Or breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
it's a fun chicken activity.
Is it shaped
like? It's for the kids. It's for the kids.
So tell me this though: how often do you use your air fryer?
Most days, 4 or 5 days out of 7.
So it's mainly fried food up there in Sunderland in your bungalow, yeah?
Well, it's air fried, yeah. But
fried.
It's not really fried because it's hot air that's cooking it.
Have you not got a grill? Have you just got one of those camping stoves or something?
No, I've got a grill, and I've got a microwave that's got a grill in as well. Hey, this is more than 3 questions, this.
No, but I mean, couldn't you just put your chicken dippers...
This has turned into harassment.
The chicken dippers under the grill?
Oh, they're easier in the air fryer and they taste better.
Oh, are they?
Have you got an air fryer?
No, but I've got an air dryer.
Well, that's a surprise because you haven't got very much hair.
Is that your joke?
Yeah.
Well, Leicester. We've got to talk about Leicester.
We have because we got a letter from the European Podcast Ombudsman last week.
Oh yeah.
And we'd only actually done 4% football.
Okay,
we didn't mention Leicester, who the previous day had won the Premier League. We didn't mention them at all, so we should touch upon Leicester.
Well, I used to live in Leicester.
Did you?
Yeah, and
with
I was.
A lass?
Sorry?
Was it with a lass?
No, I was on my own. Tiny little room with a portable telly. Didn't know anyone. Was there for a year.
University? You were there, was it?
Yeah. It's a Quaker town, you know. There's not many pubs.
Is it?
Yeah. But anyway, I thought we got to mention Leicester, so I have to give a big shout out to the cinema in the centre, because when we were on tour, we played Leicester, and I went to the Cineworld. And have you ever come across this, Andy? They've got a cinema that it's actually at the top. I'm sure it doesn't literally have to be at the top, but one of the cinemas has got individual reclining seats with a table.
Oh,
and before you go in, you order your popcorn, hot dog, whatever. I wouldn't have hot dog because I got a bad heart. Did you know that?
Not interested.
So, and it was a reclining seat, so you had your drink and your hot dog on the table. Super earthy surround sound.
Right.
So yeah, it's a big plus. This Leicester cinema.
Were you still in with the general public, or were you in a special room?
No, you just I think you paid 70 pence more or something.
Right. Well, that sounds nice. My local cinema, the Empire Cinema in Sunderland, has got VIP boxes in the largest auditoriums.
And
a VIP box is a soundproof room at the back of the cinema, and you watch the film through a glass window, and it's got 8 seats in it, and you can have waiter or waitress service.
Yeah.
A little telephone in it, you can ring and they'll order your drinks, they'll bring your drinks to you. And that's miles better than what you've just described.
It does sound fantastic, Andy.
Yeah.
But
I've won that one.
Well, let's say the Empire has won that one. The Empire struck back. You know what I mean? Well, the man was a Cineworld, and to be honest with you, it sounds shit now you said that.
Good.
So
Anything else about Leicester? I'd like to mention, while we're obliged to talk about Leicester.
Can I just say one thing?
Go on.
I went to see the film Spotlight. It's shit. Thank you. Carry on.
Okay, right. Leicester, obviously they won the Premier League, and they were given the trophy on Saturday. There was all the celebrations, and the accident and emergency department was overwhelmed.
Right.
There's a result with alcohol-related injuries and illnesses, and twice as many people as usual went along.
And does this surprise you? They just won the Premiership. What would you reckon?
No, not at all. We're just obliged to talk about Leicester, so I thought I'd mention that.
Being overwhelmed, I think, is something that happens mainly in Mexico.
Is it?
Yeah. So he goes, "Hey, I went there and I overwhelmed them." Bandits and that. There was too many of them. They overwhelmed me.
Yeah, with the pistols and that.
But there was some overwhelming going on in Leicester.
There was, for once, instead of Santiago.
So, Andy, I'm going to move on, probably rudely. You were about to say
probably
something.
For the best. I had no else on that.
Do you know me, Hoover? I told you about the Philips Hoover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm selling. Yeah, I'm selling, man.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's just in the corner collecting dust.
Alright.
It's just collecting dust.
What, you don't use it anymore?
Oh, fuck off. Right, anyway, so I was... Here's me, have you met a footballer story? Do you want me to keep it brief, Andy?
Before we do that, can we have some input from the listeners?
Yeah, of course.
Because they've gone to the trouble to do some tweets for us, so I've picked some of the best ones out.
Thank you.
One of them is, the first one says, Bob, do you have a story about the time when you met a footballer?
Oh, yes, I do. Shall I say it
please.
now? All right,
yes.
Nice one. Hey, that was serendipity, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? It was, something like that.
So, I was in Barbados, right?
As you do when you're a millionaire.
Yeah, I was in Barbados.
Well, I've never been to fucking Barbados.
Yep. I was in Barbados. Thank you for that interjection, Andy. I was in Barbados, and at the same hotel was Dixie Dion Dublin with his family, and Dirk Kuyt. I was saying Dijk Kuyt.
No, I think you've got it right there.
Dirk
Kuyt.
The Liverpool, the footballer, hard-working.
Yeah.
And a Rasta came up to us on the beach.
Is this going to be racist?
No, why is that? What's wrong with the Rasta?
Just before you go any further, I just wanted to make sure.
A
There's
Rasta.
going to be a racist element when you said a Rasta.
I don't think so, but keep your eye on me.
I will do.
Jesus. So he came up to us and asked us if we wanted to go. He came up to me and asked me if I wanted to go fishing, but this was overheard by Dirk Kuyt. Yeah.
Yeah.
To cut it short, so we agreed that the very next morning, really early as well, Andy, like about 5 o'clock, had to be dark. We were going to go out on a boat and do some fishing for barracuda, kingfisher, that sort of thing.
Kingfisher's not a fish, Bob.
Yes, it is.
It's not, man. Kingfisher's a bird.
Well, that's what he said. Well, who's being racist now? You say Rasta doesn't know he wouldn't know whether it's a bird or a fish.
I'm going out on a limb and saying, yeah, the Rasta didn't know what a kingfisher was.
Maybe it was just kingfish then. Maybe not kingfisher. But anyway, so moving forward, it's the next morning. I meet up with Dion and Dirk Kuyt. We go out on the boat, and it's really choppy. So I'm feeling really sick, and I'm on the what's the floor of the boat called, Andy? The hull?
It's
the deck.
The deck, isn't it?
I'm on the deck, and I'm next to this like big plastic pot that's got the bait in, and it's fish. It's old fish. Well, not old, but yesterday's fish. And it was making me feel sick, so I poured it over the edge.
What would you have done if it was a bucket full of Weetabix and butter?
I wouldn't have gotten the boat. So I threw it over. Obviously, you're probably ahead of me. That was actually the bait. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was wearing what I can only describe as like a slipperette made of snakeskin, but they were elasticated, really comfy, sort of light outdoor use you could get out of them. Do you know what I mean?
They sound like they wouldn't fly off.
They wouldn't fly off. I took some flip-flops with me in my little wash bag and that, but they were like snakeskin, and they had these eyelets, but they were false. You didn't put laces in.
Oh.
Can you imagine that? So it was about five each side of where the tongue would be, but the tongue was elastic. And the Rasta said we could use one of your slipperettes as a spinner, as a lure. And because I felt terrible, I said, yeah, of course you can. But the wife had bought me these, but I thought, yeah, of course you can. So they tied hooks to the eyelets and they lobbed it in, whatever, and it trails behind the boat. And I can see you getting bored of this one. So, but anyway, we caught I think it was no, fucking kingfisher's a bird, Andy. We've established that. We caught a barracuda, got a little teeth, smashing fish, about nearly maybe 2 foot long.
Wow.
So, and we gave it to the rasta. But what I should have said at the beginning is I'd just crapped out. I hadn't touched. My wife wouldn't have wanted me to go off fishing with Dirk Keir and a rasta.
And Dion Dublin.
Because she knows I'm vulnerable. I mean, look at me.
Yeah. You're a mess.
To be honest, yeah, and I was then. And so I came back to the hotel room about near midday with no shoes, stinking of fish. And she says, you know, like, where have you been? And I said, I went out fishing. Anyway, I'm going to stop this story now. Cause
what happened to the other shoe? Because you said you only used one of them as a spinner. Did you chuck the other one through the air and it hit a kingfisher?
No. Dirt Keert, I didn't actually catch a fish. Dirt Keert, yeah, and Dixie D on Dublin, they used my shoes, and I just watched.
Oh, they used one each?
Used one each, yeah. So it's a lovely story, isn't it? I
don't know if lovely's the right word that I would use to describe it. It's definitely a story.
Okay, then we'll move on. What would you like to talk about?
And I just want to apologise to whoever it was that asked if you had a footballer story, because I haven't got the name to hand, but never mind, didn't really work out today.
Hey Andy, I put earlier today, and you know Google search machine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I put cigarette lighter into the search. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got 15,000 matches. Sorry, carry on.
Well, you would do because it's a popular item, isn't it?
But I just thought I got 15,000 matches. I don't need a cigarette lighter now. That was my joke.
Was that what you were googling for? Where to
that
buy
was
a cigarette lighter?
That was my joke, Andy. All right,
oh,
my joke.
All right, okay. Anyway, another tweet from one of the listeners. This is from Mud Gloves.
Yeah.
And he says, "Why the fuck should fans be expected to stay behind and clap a team after the last game of the season? Narcissists." I don't know if he means narcissists as in the teams or me and you, but he's got a good point. The end of season lap of appreciation that seems to have crept into the game now, and they all do it.
Well, I didn't know you had a bug, something going on with this. I mean, I would always like to do it. I've enjoyed the ups and downs of the season, whichever way it's gone, and
Right.
It feels almost like part of the beginning of the summer to give them a clap off.
Did you see the one at Manchester City where Marcelino Pellegrino came out and did a speech?
I missed it. No one stayed, did
No
they?
one stayed.
It makes me feel so sad, that, because
That's awful, isn't it?
he seems a decent fella.
I think that's why they all went, because he's such a decent fella and he's not capable of doing what they want to do, which is like win stuff.
But so they're blaming the fact that Yaya Toure was basically walking around the garden centre during the Real Madrid match on Pellegrini.
I think so.
No, well,
Here's what I think they should do, and every club should adopt this, right? I've given this a lot of thought, nearly 3 minutes earlier on. Got 25 players in the squad, haven't you?
Yeah.
Them 25 squad players should go into the centre circle and line up, and they should be face to face with 25 specially selected fans. And if people want to stay in the crowd and watch this, they can. They don't have to stay. But you've got 25 players, 25 fans face to face.
Yeah.
If it's been a good season, there'll be hugs and handshakes and high fives and all that kind of thing. If they've had a wretched season, some of the fans might wade into them.
Well, it would be carnage at Sunderland every year, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah. But you know what? At least there'd be an honesty and a truth about it.
Okay, well that's never going to happen, Andy.
You've got a dream, though, haven't you? You've got to have a dream.
I mean, I was at the Riverside for Middlesbrough growing up, so of course I've got that fresh in my mind. I wanted to hug them.
Yeah.
I wanted to be them. I wanted to climb inside each individual player to show my respect from their inside.
Had you brought your dildos up with you as well?
Andy, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't say in. I said within. On my way back from Middlesbrough, my son introduced me to a game, Andy. Because you hate my yes/no football again, don't you?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Well, here's a new one, which is he said to me, "Play this game. It's called Proper Footballer." Right? And you've got to say someone you think is a proper footballer. I'll give you an example. Chris Brunt, right? Glenn Whelan, a proper footballer.
Yeah.
So you suggest one, and then I see if I can top it. Do you get the game? Proper footballer.
Proper footballer.
So you tell me the name of a proper footballer. And let's not have a great big pause here, Andy.
Mark... Oh, what's his name again? The lad at West Ham. What's he called?
Mark Noble.
Wilson? Mark Knopfler?
No.
Mark Noble. Yeah, Mark Noble.
It's good. He's a proper footballer. But I am just about to top it. You'll know you've been topped the minute I say it, when I say Jonathan Walters.
Yes, you've won that one. You've won that one. You've not only devised the game, you've also come pre-prepared. So it's hardly surprising that you've won that one. So maybe we'll do that again next week when I've got a big list of footballers ready.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
I know, but do you like the game, and you seem a bit more enthusiastic?
It's better than the other one. It's better than the one you used to do before.
Oh, thank you. So there might be a future for that.
There might be.
Do Lidl when you up there when you do Lidl do van deliveries for you, Andy, or do you have to go?
No, they don't. No, you've got to carry it all out yourself. They don't even let you take your trolley out the store.
Really?
No, they take it off you.
So is there an area behind the tills? There's an internal trolley park kind of thing.
There's like a pit.
You just throw them into the pit.
Push your trolley into the pit. Yeah.
And
trolley theft's big business around here. So.
Yeah. Have they got some sort of Germanic creature down there, like in Star Wars, that recycles them or something?
Some white yes lads. That's what you mean.
Okay.
Can I do me yes nos with you this week?
Yeah.
See what you reckon.
Go on.
Yes or no? Joey Barton.
No.
Okay. Yes or no? Joey from Friends.
Yes.
Yes or no? Friends Reunited, the now defunct social networking website.
No.
God, 1 out of 3 again.
Is that
Just
it?
1 out of 3. Yeah, that's it. 1 out of 3.
It was Joey, wasn't it? I got right.
I'm telling you.
Well, I want you to, do you remember in the past that I've asked you to tell me if something's ironic or not?
Yeah.
Are you willing to help me out? And
Go on, I'll have another pop with that, yeah.
Okay, well, I was watching the Bear Grylls Survivor show, yeah?
He's another one, like Gregg Wallace.
You know, they say he's a bit of a tricky, you know.
Is he?
Would you have thought so from his face?
Yes.
Oh, yes. You would have?
Trouble.
I always used to watch him thinking what an engaging, terrific sort of fella. But subsequently, you know, maybe not.
Industry whispers.
That kind of thing. But anyway, so I was watching it, and there's a terrible moment in it when a youngish lad falls off a cliff. And, I know, that's upset you, isn't it, Andy?
A little bit.
He falls off a cliff. Anyway, fast forward. It turns out that he works in the coffee bar in the town I live.
All right.
Yeah?
Yep.
On the same block as a Blacks, you know, like outdoor mountaineering.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking it feels like there's something ironic there that I watched it. He's on the same block as where Blacks is. Do you think or nothing ironic there?
It's tenuous, I would have said, rather than ironic.
Okay.
Tenuous link.
Okay, thank you for indulging me in that.
I'm surprised you've gone ahead with that, because that's even worse than your date Kate stuff. Another tweet from a listener, Adam Carlisle says, have you fully adapted to the new 10 pence piece?
I
know it's been around a long time.
Oh, right, from 1972 you mean?
No, not 72. They brought a smaller one in, didn't they? In like the early 90s, I think.
He
says he still hasn't got to grips with it.
I mean, Andy, I'm one of those people. I've no longer considered change to be.
You don't carry cash around.
I carry cash around.
Or just 50 quid notes.
I keep £1 coins.
Right. So what do you do if you get given change in a shop? Do you just say, keep the change, love? I've no need for it up at the mansion.
I put it in a little pot that'll be for crippled kids or for animals that are fucked off or whatever.
All right, okay, that's fair enough.
Makes me feel better. So if anyone's going to Euros, I don't want this to pass them by. You do know that as from May the 1st, so it's already in court, there's new French driving regulations, Andy.
Right.
So if you're driving in France, you must have in the car a tin of peaches and a cat litter tray. So don't get caught out by that.
Right.
So you got to have the reflector thing, you got to have the fire blanket, first aid kit.
The silly string.
You got to have all
silly
that.
string.
Yeah.
That's still standard.
Don't get caught out, folks.
Right. I always go by aeroplane, as I mentioned earlier. S.J. Yates simply just says memory foam mattresses ? Oh
yeah, I've got one of them.
Yeah, you know them?
Yeah, very much so.
Me too. What about the pillow though? Memory foam pillow?
As if, Andy. As if. Have you got a cheap foam pillow made of, I don't know, something synthetic?
I don't know what it's made of, but it's quite soft. The memory foam pillows are too firm for me.
Too firm for me. I like it, to recreate a cloud. So no, yes to the mattress.
Yes to the mattress, no to the pillow. I'm pleased we agree on that because there's not much that we do agree on.
Why are you even asking me that?
What do you mean? You've answered queries about irons and friggin' vacuum cleaners. So
all right,
why not a memory foam mattress?
I see. It was a consumer item, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, well, in consumer-wise, I think they're slightly overpriced because they're just oil. Now, would you like to take this opportunity, Andy? I'm offering it to you. Would you like to say the word shit? Or not?
Yeah. Can I just say it now?
Yeah, just say it.
Shit.
There you go. Anything else? Because, of course, I've got my final song.
Well, I've got nothing else, but if you've got a song to finish us off with, then that'll be great.
Yeah?
Would you like to introduce it first? Tell us what it's about.
Well, it's all about the day that I flew to South Africa in first class, of course.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
Didier Drogba was on the plane with me.
Oh, yeah. And you've made that into a song.
Yeah. So shall we say goodbye from Athletico Mince?
We might need to say something at the end. It depends on how it goes, doesn't it? But we're almost at the end of another podcast, and we are on Twitter at Athletico Mince if you want to follow us. And here's Bob's song about the time he was on a plane with Didier Drogba.
Yeah, next week I'll tell you about the time where I influenced the result of the Grand Prix, the Formula One, using a Scotch egg. And
I wish you'd told us that.
Andy, it's true.
I wish you told us that instead of your fishing story, because that was a stinker.
I know, it was a stinker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
But at least it wasn't racist, was it?
No.
You were a bit racist.
Best thing you can say about it.
You were a bit racist when you said that the Rasta had got it wrong.
No.
I think there were certain assumptions there. Anyway, yes, so I'm on the plane, first class, with Didier Drogba, and he's making use of the in-flight entertainment.
Go for it.
On a plane with Didier Drogba, he was watching Mrs. Doubtfire. He laughed so hard, his gloves flew off and landed in my fucking cannelloni. And landed in my fucking cannelloni. Were you eating? You can't. A buttered Weetabix. See you, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.